welcome to Your Favourite Teacher. Today we're going to look at the prelude from the Power and Conflict cluster. The prelude is one of those poems that confuses everyone. First off, Wordsworth's language can be very difficult to digest in some sections. It doesn't help that the whole narrative of the poem is a bit confusing too. A man goes off one night in a boat, he sees a mountain and is terrified by this experience for the rest of his life. Whilst it might not make sense at first, the prelude is actually trying to explore some profoundly true insights about life and our place in the world. One of the most significant romantic poets of his time, Wordsworth's poems often aim to explore his own emotions, his mental growth, and his relationship with nature. Nature often occurs as a subject in romantic poems. Speakers explore nature and express their love of nature as a way of discussing their attitude towards life in general. In many romantic pieces, just like in this poem, the speaker venturing out into nature isn't just about venturing out into the physical world. Rather, venturing out into nature is symbolic of exploring one's life in general. So while reading this poem, it's important to remember that the whole piece is a metaphor. By going out in the boat at night, Wordsworth uses his speaker's adventure as a metaphor for individual growth and the attempt to find a place in the world around him. This speaker is not just tootling about in the lake for fun, but rather to find some meaningful experience and a connection with the world. At first, it seems as if this experience is going to be a rather beautiful one. The speaker creates a calm atmosphere by beginning with "one summer evening," implying their positive attitude towards this adventure into the world. Similarly, there's a sense of ease created around the speaker's actions. Rather simply, he states, "Straight I unloosened her chain and stepping in pushed from the shore." The simplicity of the act emphasises the ease the speaker feels, as he can so easily push the boat from its shore. Furthermore, starting that line with the adjective straight implies the ease of the action as well, as straight suggests that it was uncomplicated. Whilst you might think that the act is dangerous when the speaker states that it was an act of stealth and troubled pleasure, actually the focus should be on the word pleasure, which reinforces the fact that the speaker is enjoying this calm experience. The calmness of this scene is also emphasised when the speaker states that the voice of mountain echoes move his boat. The personification of nature here creates an image of nature calling the speaker into the water. This might suggest in some way that the speaker's been tempted by the beauty of the lake. Similar to the first line where he mentions being led by her. Overall, though, the personification of nature in the first half adds to the sense of ease and calm seen in the poem's beginning. This is because of the fact that nature seems to be tempting and luring him into the lake in an intimate way. Further calm and ease is created by Wordsworth's use of imagery, describing small circles glittering idly in the moon and the sparkling light. Again, bright imagery here adds to the sense of pleasure and calm in the beginning, implying the happiness and comfort within nature. The first half of Wordsworth's poem establishes a really strong sense of calm and might imply the speaker's own feelings of empowerment. However, later in the poem, this confidence felt by the speaker is troubled. The speaker can also be seen as a confident figure in the way that he is proud of his skill and rows with an unswerving line, suggesting his very purposeful actions as he ventures into the water. Furthermore, he aims for the horizon's utmost boundary. Significantly, Wordsworth not only makes the speaker seem very calm and confident within nature, he also portrays the speaker to be someone whose confidence knows no bounds. With this example of hyperbole choosing to aim for the utmost boundary of the horizon, readers can finally see how overconfident the speaker is, as Wordsworth implies that the speaker knows no bounds. This feeling of confidence and power felt by the speaker can also be seen in the acts of self mentioned earlier. Later in the poem, the speaker realises the limits of his power when the scenery around him suddenly changes. Seemingly out of nowhere, the personification of nature in the poem is altered by Wordsworth in the second half. The nature is suddenly described with much more hostility, and we find lots of intimidating language. For example, from behind the mountain with which the speaker originally aimed for, suddenly a huge peak, black and huge, raises up. Repetition of the adjective huge here implies the intimidating nature of the mountain, whilst the dark imagery suggests a threat. The personification continues, stating the mountain upreared its head, towered up, and strode after me. All of these descriptions of the mountain not only imply the hostility of nature towards the speaker, but also change the reader's understanding about nature's power. Where in the first half, it seems like the speaker has control and power over the situation. Now nature is pursuing him, proving to him how minuscule he is in comparison. The speaker realises this and is described returning to the shore with trembling oars and having stole my way. Here, the image of trembling implies fear, whereas the connotations of the verb stole let us know the sudden realisation of guilt that the speaker is feeling. He knows he's done something wrong by venturing out too far into the lake. All of this, in the end, seems to trouble and haunt the speaker. He describes being in grave and serious mood and states, "O'er my thoughts there hung a darkness," implying the shock of his discovery. In the end, though, the speaker realises that nature's power is one of unknown modes of being and gains visions of huge and mighty forms that do not live like living men. These descriptions of nature as being unknown and huge and mighty suggest nature's power is not only vastly superior to humans, but completely beyond our understanding. Not only is nature more powerful than us, but it seems capable of teaching us a lesson, much like the one it taught the speaker in the poem. As he discovers he cannot just do as he pleases in the world, he can't adventure wherever he likes, so too do readers discover how small the power of man is in comparison to that of nature. A discovery that the romantic poet Wordsworth tries to express in this poem, The Prelude. I'm Miss Meeks, and we've been looking at power and conflict.